Hey, I'm on
Hey.
Chicago Cycling Network. Oh my God. Something a little bit different today. And today's going to be more of a learning experience. We're going to learn a lot about bikes in a nutshell, okay? So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Guys, again, thank you so much for subscribing, supporting the movement, encouraging me. My God, it's been quite some time. We've been doing it for over a year now, and it's been so much fun. I'm learning about different people and just bringing some amazing people on the YouTube channel and just learning about different people, talking and just having fun, which is most important. I'm having a lot of fun. It's a blast so far, and this is 2026. We're going to keep on having fun and let's keep on bringing different people on the channel. You guys know his face, but he's going to introduce himself a little bit later on. But everybody know who he is because he's one of the most handsome cyclists in Chicago. We all know that. We talk about it a lot, by the way, so he knows it's true, right? But anyway, guys, again, thank you for just sitting in and watching and supporting and this enjoying what's been going on. Again, Chicago is an amazing place. We had a couple warm days a couple days ago, and I saw everybody were out, and then now we're back in the 30s again, and it is what it is. We know not until about April, we're gonna have some nice fun time to ride and enjoy the weather. So just be patient, guys. We know we can go from 70 to 30 and then back to 20, and it's me having some snow on Sunday and all sort of different things, but this is the time, all right? So again, guys, thanks for watching, and let's just get the ball rolling. So please introduce yourself and let's take it from there.
Perfect. So, Dean Apt, I race for 606 Racing, which will be my new team this year. Previously raced for 8 years for Triple X. And I'm a USAC Level 2 coach, really enjoying coaching. Been doing it for about 2 years now. And thrilled to be on the Chicago scene, which is kind of the best. I spent a lot of time riding in Northern California before I moved here. And this is just kind of an amazing environment, tribe, tons of clubs, tons of people, tons of diversity, tons of styles, tons of disciplines. It's awesome.
Oh, again, thanks for joining. It's a pleasure. I mean, and you guys have seen before, because remember the last time we brought him with Brian Guac, two OGs, and these guys are like very knowledgeable of what's going on in Chicago, whether it's talking about bikes or just the cycling scene. So yeah, today I decided, you know what, let's do something different this time. And why I want to do something different is because about 2 weeks ago, somebody's looking to buy a bike, and they came to me and said, okay, well, I want to buy a bike. Got linked up to some friends, and this guy, when he came to look at the bike, he was asking all these questions, and I was like, wow, that was me, like when I tried to get my first bike, because there's so many things I just did not know about bike. Okay, I did not know about frames or cassettes or whatever. All right, so that was just like, you know what? I think I should do an episode that's talking about, like, for someone who's going to get into biking, here are some of the things you should, have a checklist, and hopefully it's going to help you. Okay, and what better way to have somebody who knows about bike come on the show and talk about, bikes and help us out to select things. I know I've learned a couple of things over the years from my friends, like Andrew Van Til, which I call the sage oracle of bike, because if you have a problem in Cortado, you call Andrew Van Til and he will solve the problem. And he has all the tools and he knows a lot about bikes. But of course, Dean, you are one of the person who are for sure who can, get us in the right direction. So, which I truly think you're like a cycling maestro in Chicago.
Thank you.
So if we're gonna get started in cycling, all right, where would you start?
Boy, it's just acknowledging that, it was always kind of tricky to understand how to start, but now it's way more complicated. There's way more different kinds of bikes. There's all sorts of data. There's all sorts of riding. Just remember that, first of all, it's all about fun. There's plenty of people who ride regular flat pedal bikes forever and they have a blast. So whatever you choose to do is okay. And at this point, for anyone who wants to kind of move from kind of casual riding or commuting into getting a little more serious, just remember there's no dumb questions. I mean, I'm still asking questions, and I've been racing for 15 years. So it's just so complicated. It's changing all the time. So no dumb questions. But where would you begin? So if you want to get a bike and start to get a little more serious than you are right now, you kind of have a couple different choices. You can buy a whole bike, or you can start with just a frame and kind of build on it. and there's a zillion different options. Entry-level bikes could be in the range of, these days, anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 roughly. And in that range, you can go for carbon fiber, and there's a couple aluminum choices that are quite good. So if you're going to buy a whole bike, some good examples of options. My favorite one, which I just discovered, there's a brand new Cannondale CAD 14, which is a famous bike that they've brought back in a new aluminum format that has really good components. It's $2,500. I want to get it. It's so great.
He's going to get it. That's what he's saying.
It has 105 mechanical 12 speed, and it's just an amazing machine. You can also, that's an aluminum frame. You can get an aluminum specialized LA frame. That's a little more expensive starting point. It's $1,700 or $1,800 just for the aluminum frame. And then you'll have to build around that, all the components and wheels. Specialized, I'm just mentioning two brands because they're probably the most popular American brands. There's endless number of brands. But Specialized also has entry-level bikes for their Tarmac line. Mm-hmm. They go all the way down to the 105 series of components, and those start a little bit pricier than Cannondale in the $3,300, $3,500 range. Which, I mean, in the old days, that was $1 billion. I mean, it's expensive even just to start. But even if you want to buy a little bit more comfortable, efficient, competitive frame, it is going to be a little bit of an investment.
Yeah. And then I think I learned that when you look at a bike frame, like bike frame come in different flavors, which I had to learn. So you could have like an endurance frame, you could have an endurance aero, and you can have an aero frame, which go from like more relaxed to more aggressive setup, right? So for someone who get in, would you advise them to get like a endurance aero, or it just depends on what you're looking for?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what kind of riding you like. I'd say if you want to kind of try everything, an endurance frame is your most flexible and your most comfortable frame. An aero frame is going to be more specific to speed and shorter distances and going super fast, but it's not going to be as comfortable on a hilly 5-hour ride. An endurance frame is going to be more multi-purpose for someone new. That bike I mentioned, the Cannondale CAD 14, that's an endurance geometry frame. So it's a kind of do everything, but it can also go fast. And all of the frames now, both the aero and endurance frames, are claiming to kind of be good at everything. So they're actually, those categories exist, but they're also blending together closer.
Gotcha. So if someone was in Chicago, what would you recommend for someone like we're in the flatlands? what would you recommend?
I would get on. I would try both at a bike shop and then see what you like, what feels more comfortable. And yeah, go with that.
Oh, I agree a bit. For when I got my first frame, it was like a more endurance Trek 2.0 aluminum, and it had carbon fork and carbon seat posts. So that was the coolest thing for me. But it was really more endurance.
Uh-huh.
But again, if you're going to push the bike really, really fast, then put the work in to go fast, then it's okay. If you put some nice wheels, we're going to get to wheels later on, but if you can get like a nice, comfortable setup, I think it's not too bad.
Right.
And again, you mentioned that when you're going to talk about like bikes, there's like many different flavors of bikes, right? So as you mentioned, they can be carbon, they can be aluminum, they can be titanium, they can be steel, right? And all of these come with different prices. And even for somebody who, when we were talking about road bikes, but what about somebody who wants to go to maybe ride gravel? Because a lot of people love to go in the driftless regions and ride those bikes. So would you recommend somebody like, okay, if we work in a TPRT, right? Yeah. Would you recommend like a nice gravel setup?
Yeah. So the options for gravel are endless now. It's exploded over the last few years. And similar to road bikes, there are options sort of at the high, medium, and low price range. Most of those are carbon frames, and they're just geometry-wise a little bit more endurance-y, a little bit more relaxed because most of the gravel events are longer. So every brand has a gravel option now, and they're pretty amazing bikes. They all have room for the big tires, and they all have the special components and the gearing to allow you to do different things in terms of terrain. So So gravelier options are endless and they're pretty great.
Yeah, and same for roads. I mean, there's so many different brands of bikes, which we're not going to call it other brands because there's just so much. It just depends on what you like, right? Because some people just buy a brand and like, you know what, this brand worked for me, and they just stick to it. And everything they have is going to be the same thing. I have a mix. So I have Fuji, which I really like. I have Specialized, and I have Planet X, and I have Trek. So I have different flavors of bikes for different strokes for different folks, right? So what about you? What kind of bike do you have in your arsenal?
So my main bike is a Specialized Tarmac S8 Pro. It's carbon. It's the Tarmac is billed as the one bike. You only need it for aero or climbing or everything, and it is very versatile. But I have had an aluminum bike, the LA Sprint, which was fantastic. And it wasn't that much heavier. Aluminum is a little stiffer. Carbon is a little bit more compliant and more comfortable. Steel and titanium tend these days to be sort of the aficionado specialty class of bikes, the one bike I'm going to ride for my whole life kind of bikes that usually are quite expensive now, because the mass production is definitely around carbon and a little bit of aluminum. So yeah, carbon for me just because it's aero and I race a lot.
Gotcha. So I mean, I tapped in because right behind is the LA Sprint I have, and I felt like when I was riding my carbon bike, I was just losing too much of that forward thrust. I want something stiffer, you know? And I couldn't afford a SL8 carbon bike. So I went a little bit down, and I think the LA Sprint aluminum, I think that worked pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
For like a sort of criterium basher bike, the Sprint is a really great option. It is a little, just the frame alone. I mean, if it's a frame, $1,700 to $800. They have new colors now that are in that higher end of that range. And then you hang wheels and components. That gets up around $4,000 or $5,000-ish to put the whole bike together.
Yes.
But still, that's half of, the second tier high carbon bike. I wonder if we're getting too confusing already.
No. Trust me. Like, a lot of people are watching this. They're picking up a few little cues. I mean, the main message here, guys, is that bike comes in can be from different material, right? Carbon, steel, aluminum, and titanium, right? That's one. Two, you can have bikes in different geometry, endurance, aero, and aero. I mean, that's what we're gibbering about a little bit. But as we progress, I promise you, it will all make sense. A lot of people already make sense because they know what we're talking about. But for the person who's just getting into biking, this is the kind of the theme. And I promise by the end, it will all have a lot of check marks and like a ding coming on in the back of your mind. But yeah, I got the LA Sprint because I don't race, but technically a race, because if you go to the Wednesday night ride, it is a race. it's a race. And I wanted something stiffer. So that's why I went with that one, right? So
it's a great bike.
And we're not going to talk about tri-bikes. That's another story of people do triathlons and one speed, one gear. That bike is meant to go fast. Again, for those things, you can't take them out in group rides because they're frowned upon for obvious reasons, which we can touch a little bit at the end. We'll talk about that, but that's one reason why I won't talk about the tri-bikes, because it's tricky.
Very specialized niche use.
Very specialized.
Like a time trial all by yourself. Go as fast as you can over the distance. No turns, no other people, aero position.
No drafting.
It's a time trial bike.
No drafting, none of that stuff. If you drafted Ironman or whatever these events, you get penalized. You can't do it. And you have so much time to pass somebody. If you stay too long behind them and draft, they'll lose some time. They'll actually, punish you, penalize you for that stuff.
Not good.
Not good. No bueno. All right. So we talk a little bit about the bike. All right. So the next thing now, we talk about the frame. And when I was talking to the person who come to buy the bike, I was explaining to him what a group set was. And he was looking like, what? What is that? So could you touch a little bit on so you have the frame, you pick your frame, right? Your flavor of frame. If you're going to buy like a bike that's made, or if it's made, it's going to come with a group set anyway. So touch a little bit on group set and what it entails.
Sure. So your group set is your transmission, your front and rear derailleur, and your brakes. And nowadays your shifting element is in the brakes. And That's pretty much it. Just your transmission and your brakes. And to a certain extent, the actual chain is usually unique to a group set, and the cassette or the rear, the gears in the rear. And mechanical is still used by a lot of aficionados, a lot of people who like old school shifting, but electronic shifting is now pretty common and pretty efficient and continues to get better and better every year. You have two main companies, Shimano and SRAM. SRAM, of course, loved locally because they are in Chicago. And essentially they have a top, middle, and lower line of product. And there's lines below that are cheaper that actually are quite good. And you get any pro mechanic at a table with beers, they're going to tell you that the third tier is just as good as the top tier.
Yes.
Although the price difference is dramatic.
Yeah.
But with Shimano, you have top tier Dura-Ace, you have Ultegra second tier, you have 105. 105 is a fantastic group, and anyone can race.
I have no problem with 105 actually. They're in my price range.
Yeah. And SRAM, you have Red, Force, and Rival. And I think Rival is all electronic. I'm not familiar with SRAM. I've never used it, but everyone loves it. I would say it's the predominant group set here. But those are your components. And yeah, I mean, the levels of component match the price of the frame generally when you're shopping around.
Gotcha. So you would recommend a 105 versus for price range and functionality?
For entry level, I think 105 is fantastic. I mean, I race against people who race on 105 just because they like it. And it's commonly known as the working man's group set. And it is available now in both electronic and mechanical, whereas Rival, the third tier of SRAM, I think is only electronic. I might be wrong. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then you mentioned like cassette. So for, again, a lot of people probably know what a cassette is, and you hear about chainring. So for the people who are not so familiar with what a cassette is, so the cassette is the I would say this one that's on the back of the bike that has like different they either come in basically when you talk about a 10 speed or a 12 speed or 11 speed, it just means a number of these chain cassettes on the back. That's what basically it means. And each of those come with different teeth, and different teeth can be for different things. So remember, like the bigger one right here is used for when you're going to go climbing, but almost nobody ever used them in Chicago. So most times you can judge a person. All right, if you're going to pay attention, next time you go behind a person, look at your cassette, and you can always tell which gear they use all the time because those are typically the most messed up, worn out one. They kind of look a little bit dark, a little bit like, Versus most people in Chicago, they're in between maybe like 13 to like maybe, I don't know, 21, 18, something like that. That was always the range that you look at anybody. All right, so you have the chain, and I know there's a new thing now where people are, how they treat their chain. So back in the days, we all know about putting lube on your chain. It's a new thing now. It's waxing, right? So do you wax your chain, or do you use like regular lube?
I don't wax it, but just because I'm lazy. It is universally agreed that waxing is the fastest and cleanest way to do it. And there's a lot of kits that allow you to wax it efficiently and put it on. So the idea behind waxing is it stays clean longer, it doesn't attract dirt, and it just helps the chain perform as efficiently as it possibly can. So I use wet lube, but I am maniacal about keeping my bike. So if there's any wet at all outside, the bike gets a white glove full clean. So, and cleaning your chain and your cassette after any time it gets wet or gritty is the best way to increase its longevity and its efficiency. So a little bit of grit can wear down the teeth here, can stretch your chain out, and it can wear down the teeth on your front chain rings. So the cleaner that is all the time, the longer it's going to last, and the more efficient it's going to be, and the more power you're going to be able to transfer to your pedals. But waxing is seen. I don't do it, but waxing is seen as the pros do.
The new thing.
All the pros do it.
And I'm not pro. If Patrick makes a bike for me, wax my chain. Once the chain is waxed, I remove it and I start putting lube. And again, for somebody who's new, when you get wax in, you're gonna have to get like all these like a heating container to melt the wax in. You put your chain in the wax, then you take it out and it dries. But again, your cassette or your chain will never look dirty. The bike will always look new.
It's remarkable.
It's pretty cool. you could ride in mud,
Yeah.
most muddiest day, and go home. You're like, wait a minute, the entire bike is dirty. The chain is still clean.
It is amazing. I will go over to waxing eventually. Yeah.
Yes, I think I'm going that direction, but again, I'm still new and I'm still lazy a little bit with certain things. So I think I'm gonna stick to to just regular lube for now. And it's gonna come home, I clean my chain and I do different things. And there's some little unique things I learned too. For example, now there's actually chains that are very specific, or 12 speed or 11 speed or 10 speed. And I just learned recently that you can't put an 11 speed chain on a 12 speed bike. You cannot. However, you can put a 10 speed chain, 11 speed chain on a 10 speed. That you can do, because a lot of my chains are 11 speed or 10 speed because of spacing. So they're compatible. But a 12 speed will not work. And I did not know this.
Yeah, so to fit more sprockets on here,
With less space.
Fit less space, so the chains are more and more
Narrow,
specialized and narrower. So, yeah.
And I did not know that.
There you go. No dumb questions.
Exactly. I mean, if Andrew Van Til didn't tell me this, because I would have just buy some chain. It's like, no, you don't work like that. You don't work like that. Again, while you have you can put 11 or 10, you just can't put a 12 on 11 and all this. I'm like, I didn't know that. Now there's actually 13 speed now that came out with recently.
Yeah, Campagnolo has 13 speed, but Campagnolo is like buying a Lamborghini. That's a different component group. But yeah, in general, there are some 13 options. The newer Shimano will eventually be 13, and I think some of the SRAM is 13 now also. So, but speaking of chains and SRAM and Shimano, it is best to keep the specific chain for that group set. And especially with SRAM, there's a special kind of chain for their group sets that is shaped differently than other chains. So ideally, you're keeping Ultegra chain with Ultegra, 105 chain with 105, Dura-Ace, etc. There are a lot of other chain brands out there. KMC's famous. There's gold chains. There's colorful chains. Yeah. They're all awesome. But just for efficiency, I'd recommend sticking with the brand and the component group.
Gotcha. All right. So the other thing that we didn't touch on is that so you, with your group set, you can have different braking system. You can either have disc or you can have a rim brake. Touch on that a little bit because again, and there's still a debate. Do you want to have rim brake versus disc brake? Which is better? What do you think?
So the industry has sort of decided for us in that they've all moved to disc brakes over time. There's still rim brakes available out there. The biggest difference is wet braking. So a carbon rim with a rim brake is harder to stop. It's harder for the brake pads to grab the carbon at this point up here in the wet, whereas a disc brake is just stops you no matter what the weather is. Disc brakes work better in general. Rim brakes will work fine, but in the wet, there's a definite disadvantage.
Yeah, and then I find for the disc brake that in the wet they're loud. I remember one time it was raining at Wednesday night ride, and we went out. It was dry. We went and it started raining, and then we started hitting brakes, and everybody braking like. Arr, arr. So people just really touching their brake. So automatically, when you hear that, you think that people are braking, so you slow down. And then when you slow down, like people are punching away from you, like, come on, because it's psychological, right?
Yeah. So they are very noisy. Disc brakes are very noisy in the wet.
Yeah.
No way to avoid it.
Yeah. And I also heard that one of the reasons why they switch over from rim brake to disc brake is that when you're going down on these mountain sides, you're coming down at high speeds, people will brake so much that they basically burn their brake pad out.
Yeah.
And melt them. I've heard people melting those things.
Yeah. And that was before carbon rims, and now there are some situations depending on the manufacturer where a rim brake on a carbon rim on a long descent, the rim might defect and
just fall
fail.
apart.
That's happened. So they've improved that a lot, the brake tracks for rim brakes for carbon wheels, but it's not such a focus for the industry now.
Yeah. But in the beginning, I guess when the focus was, somebody didn't even know either, that if you have a carbon wheel, you have to get brake pads that are specific for carbon wheel.
Yes.
I did not know this.
Yes.
So I thought the one that you use for aluminum surface
Yeah.
would work for carbon. My friend said, no, you're gonna eat through your carbon wheel. I did
Yeah.
not know this. So for anybody who's gonna get a carbon braking bike or rim brake, and you're gonna carbon wheels, please, you have to get carbon specific brake pads for your wheels.
Yes, you do.
I didn't know this
Yes.
because I thought everything was ready to go. I think my friend was like, "Are you gonna get carbon brake pads?" And I was like, "No." That brake pads was like, "No."
And you didn't crash.
And I didn't. And I think I rode the bike for like a week or so with the regular aluminum surface brake brake pads for my friend was like, "No, you're crazy! Don't take them off. Take them off." But again, you're learning. I mean, I'm learning, and I hope that people are picking up of taking notes as we go along. So the other thing, okay, so these are all great information, right? So now we talk about the frame, the group set. All right, now we just mentioned a little bit about the wheel. What wheel? What about your wheel?
Yeah. So carbon wheels are lighter and stiffer and more aerodynamic than aluminum ones. They also seem to be, at least based on my use of them for the last 10 or 15 years, more durable and they stay truer longer. They're just better construction. If you do crash or have a mishap on your bike, they are going to break and fall apart. But carbon wheels used to be $1 million, but are now available. You can buy a pair of carbon wheels online for $300 or $400.
Yeah, and they're pretty good stuff too.
And they're actually quite good. So it is sort of a wonderful time for wheels. You can buy amazing products for relatively low prices. You can spend, if you want to, $4,000 or even more on a pair of wheels, just the wheels. If you're really
the brand that begins with Z.
Yeah, if you really want to go crazy, and those are awesome, and the pros use them. But honestly, I've bought $300 carbon wheels, and they were great. The ones I have on my bike right now are Revals. They came with it, and they're great. I've used Zip in the past; they're great. But probably the best source of information on them is Patrick's channel, which is sort of remarkable in terms of the detail and the length of review. And he has found, I mean, I ask him when I think about buying wheels because his knowledge is amazing. But there are just so many options. It used to be that there was some question around the quality of wheels made in China, but what everyone figured out was that the same factories that are building all the high-end ones are building all the ones you can buy online direct from Fire Sports or Elite or whoever.
So I think you should repeat that. Where all the rims, where all the wheels are made in the same factory.
Yeah, they're all in the same factories. So the brands that come to mind are Windspace and Fire Sports and
Number 6.
I'm going to get in trouble for not mentioning ones that Patrick liked, but the options are amazing.
Yeah, like number 6. You write number 6 all the time, and some other. I mean, Patrick, you can talk about wheels again. Again, Patrick Lino is the guy, our famous Chicago local YouTuber cycle. So we build bikes, review them, review bike products, frames, rims, seats, just name it. If you want to learn how to build bikes and stuff, go to his channel, or you can just send him a message using a pigeon. He'll get it, I promise you. but he's always ready to answer your questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the variety in carbon is the depth of the rim. So a shallower rim is going to be a little bit lighter, more maybe if you're climbing a lot.
Right.
Whereas a deeper rim, let's say you're in a flat, fast race and you just want to go fast, the deeper the rim, all the way up to 88 millimeters deep is, an option. But you usually have a 40, 50, 60, 80 option on the different brands. And the deeper, the more aero, the shallower, the lighter, and more conducive to climbing.
Yeah, and then I think some people are actually doing maybe a 50 at the front and a 65 at the back.
Yeah, there's all sorts of mullet variations, which are really great. And I think even I've seen reverse mullet where the front one's a little wider and a little deeper, and the back one's a little shallower. And so this is all wind tunnel testing, and it's changing all the time. And it's pretty cool. The technology is amazing.
Yeah. So, all right. So wheel set. And now I think it's time to open up Pandora's box. All right. So we talk about rims, wheels. What about the tire width? Because this is like a big debate from 1965 until now. We've come a long way. So what wheel size would you recommend for, riding?
Yeah, so we all used to ride on 19 or 24 millimeter wide tires, but the standard nowadays is about a 28. That's what comes with most bikes, and what the experts have found to be most comfortable and most aero and to work the best across all different types of rims is 28. There's a lot of pros riding 30s and 32s now, just on regular road rides. So size-wise, a 28 is about 700C tire, 28 millimeters wide is about standard, and it's really great.
Yeah. And again, I did not know these things. I was riding 23s when I started out.
We all were, yeah.
And this is like 5 years ago when you guys were probably still on 25, 28. And I thought 23 was the coolest thing. And my friends like, you're riding what? How does that feel? I mean, isn't that like really hard? But I'm like, no, it's fine. Then I went to 25s. I'm like, wow, what big difference. And I think when I started riding 25s was when 28s started becoming the new thing. And now everybody ride 28 millimeter tires. And now I've tried 32 and I'm not going by the 28.
Yeah, it's comfort
30
and aero.
is 30 is like the sweet spot for me right now.
Yeah.
And we can run a little bit lower pressure.
Yep.
Under 30
Softer.
And you get softer, really nice in the body. You get a nice
better cornering,
nice grip. And you'll hear for the nerds out there, I'll mention this because you guys know what it means. And for people that get into cycling, eventually you hear this word. It's called like contact ratio, right? So this is very important. People nerd out on these things. People will take their weight. Based on their weight, they will calculate what the tire pressure should be. And based on tire pressure, that will give you the best contact ratio with the wheel to the road. And based on that, it'll give you a fastest speed. It'll say 5 watts, 10 watts, because we are a bunch of watt weenies. For guys who race, they take it very, very seriously, right? So 30, 32, 28. I think 25s, no, stop doing it. I'm sorry. Don't write 25s. You can thank both of us later. 28 to 32 is the magic number. And then when you ride gravel, like all these guys are going to like 40 and all these, even more than that now for gravel.
The gravel tire discussion goes on forever. And so the amount of time that people who are doing gravel races spend thinking about the tread and the surface and how much knob on the side or how much knob on top, and depending on how mud, or it's endless. And that technology is kind of amazing also, but it is way more complex than road. Road's pretty simple compared to gravel.
Yeah. So, wheels, tires. All right. So now we know that tires can either be tubes or tubeless, which I've not gone tubeless as a kid because I'm still kind of old school.
Me too.
I'm still kind of weird. So what I've learned about people talk about tubeless. Okay. So tubeless, basically, it really means tubeless. It means that there's actually no tube inside of the tire on the rim. Okay. It's just held on by pressure. And then typically, as I said, you're probably going to run lower pressure in the tubeless. And the cool thing is you can put a sealant inside of your rim. So the rim is made where it won't leak, right? You can put sealant. So what can happen is you can have a little micro flat and there's a sealant that squirts through the hole and it real seals. I've seen them work and rides with my friends. You hear psst, then it seals. I would just keep on riding. You're like, mind blowing how that works. And I can tell you, tubeless with the sealant, when they work, they work. And when they don't work, they don't work. And I've seen both. And when they don't work, things get really, really messy.
Yes.
Because you have to take the tire off, and those things are held on really tightly on the rim. There's like goo everywhere from the sealant.
Very messy.
Very messy. Take that time you have to put in a tube, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But again, as you said, everybody's riding. The pros are riding tubeless now.
Yeah, the World Tour Peloton just went 100% tubeless this year. There were still a couple holdouts last year on Specialized cotton turbos, but everyone's doing tubeless. Now, the messiness is a big deal. The debate about what's faster or more comfortable that's easily settled because tubeless is faster, it's lighter, there's no weight of the inner tube. You can run lower pressure. They're just better for efficiency and for speed. And then there's the flat protection on top of that.
Right.
But the messiness is an issue. Now, if you're a pro team, you got a whole staff worrying about the mess. You don't got to worry about. You got to worry about.
Let's just give you a new bike.
Yeah, a new bike. You don't have to worry about the mess. But for us regular people, it can be, depending on what type of riding you do, or if you're going over really bad roads and you still get flats anyway. I've seen a lot of disasters where I've been sprayed with sealant, but there's no argument that they're faster and more comfortable. It's just they're a little bit messier. So I haven't gone over yet either. I'm probably going to go over this year.
But I can tell you, like, me too. But I can tell you what I've gone over, because as you come and you learn, there's tubeless and there's also tubes. But man, tubes have come a long way.
Yes.
Okay. And what do I mean? Okay. So these are the tubes that we're probably used to seeing, right? So it's big and clunky and everything. Now, tubes are this big now. Look at the difference. These are called TPU tubes. Okay. This works just as good as this one, but this is lighter. It fits in your pocket, and they're fantastic.
Dramatically lighter.
Dramatic. And again,
lighter.
For people who race, and it's about what win is, like, you can see the difference in the weight, and every gram counts. And I'm still running. I went from this, and now all I have is I can take 3-4 of these in my little packet on my back, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, from a practical perspective, carrying spares, these are really wonderful. And the technology, even in a couple of years of these, has improved dramatically.
And the price has gone down too.
And the price has gone down. So the fixture around the base of the nozzle and the nozzle itself used to fail and leak a lot, but they've built the nozzle more out of aluminum or metal now versus plastic, and they've made this base a lot stronger, and they've made them a little bit heavier, so there was a lot of leaking issues. But the technology at TPU now is kind of amazing. A really great option is you can run a tubeless tire with a TPU tube in it, and you can get all the benefits of speed and lightness with just a few more grams of this TPU tube and not have the mess.
Right.
So that's my thinking of training next year. I'll have, maybe if I really go fancy, have a set of race wheels that are tubeless, and I have a set of training wheels that have TPUs inside, but they have probably a tubeless tire that's light.
Yeah, I mean that works. I mean, again, I've seen people when they're flat and everything can't work, they just pop a tube in and pump it up, and we're good to go. Right?
Yeah.
And talking about pumping up and ready to go. So this is something that you guys need to have, right? Which we should think about when you get into biking, is that you need to get if you have a flat in the road, you need to have way to pump up your tire. Okay. So the way people pump up our tire now, we go old school, and we have a CO2 canister that we use. And that's good enough to pump up our tires. But again, the industry is changing so fast now that now we have pumps that we can bike with. This thing right here, you can probably get about 5 or 6 pumps out of them. This little thing right here, look at this. No more CO2 canister, no other stuff. You just set your PSI, attach it, and you're good to go.
It's a little fatter in your pocket, but it's way more efficient.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of never use this one because I like the hands-on approach. I like the feel of taking my CO2 out my back pocket, and screw under the nozzle and versus like waiting. And, again, I'm eventually gonna maybe go over it. I got this for Christmas, and it's just still sitting around because I really still enjoy that interaction with my bike and man versus bike, and that feeling of just doing, So anyway, but again, the industry is changing. If you can get into bike, again, we'll cover frame, we've covered group set, we've covered wheels, we've covered rim depth. Now we're talking about different types of inner tubes. You can go tubeless. If you go tubes, you can go like heavy tubes, or you can go like TPU, butyl, or you can go into TPUs. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
But these are all things you're going to learn as you evolve with biking.
I would say just to touch on tires for a minute, one thought I had is that if there's one place that it's worth it to spend a little more, it would be your tires, because the cheaper tire might be pretty heavy and might be a little bit less puncture resistant, whereas the higher end tire is, the performance is just so different. Like $49 tire is pretty good. $80 tire, oh my God, the feeling is completely different. So it's worth it to treat yourself, I think, in that regard. And just to be able to, I mean, around here, the roads are pretty clean and pretty flat. So I ride the same route all the time. So I never get flats because I know where all the holes are. But if you're able to sort of navigate the road carefully and kind of watch out for flat causing elements, especially then it's worth it to spend a little bit more. You're just enjoy life and get the good tire. That's my suggestion.
And as you said about good tire, I can bet my lunch money for tomorrow that Dean rides GP 5000.
Oh, well, I've always rode the Specialized cotton. I have had those, but I've ridden the turbo cottons, Specialized, which are in the 28s, because they're with. We didn't talk about latex tubes. Latex tubes are also an option.
Yeah, but those, they lose air too fast.
Yeah, you have to pump them up every day.
every time you ride them. So yeah.
Yeah, no, but I was riding the turbo cotton just because they feel like I'm old enough to remember tubeless tires or sew-ups, which always felt brilliant. And that combination of this or a latex tube in that cotton clincher felt the same way. It was brilliant.
Gotcha. So you don't ride GP 5000.
I don't.
I just lost my lunch money, guys. GP 5000 are the tires of tires. I mean, all my bikes have GP 5000.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't. Victoria are tougher, but it is not as good. And I've gone between both. You talk about, you know where all the potholes are. So at the beginning of every season, I let my friends go out as a first wave, and they get all the flats and they can report right out, because there are always new holes. Every year, there's always new holes, right? So they go and say, oh, that right. And Sheridan, there's a hole right there. Watch out for it. So next time I go out, I know there's a new hole there and stuff. So I let the first wave go out, and then I go after it. So I think about these things because I'm like weird like that, right?
It's good to think about. I mean, the GP 5000 is a great tire. You can't miss. You can't miss with Specialized high-end turbo tires. There's a couple other brands I can't think of off the top of my head because everyone uses those too.
Yeah, right. Victoria.
Also wonderful. Wonderful tire.
Pirellis or something?
Pirellis are great.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of options out there, but
yeah, if you buy any of those high-end versions or second to high-end versions of any of those brands, you're fine.
Yeah, and I don't ride turbo cotton because I've had a bad experience with turbo cotton one time where I went in a sprint and I peeled the rubber off.
I've heard that more than once. It never happened to me though.
Yeah, it happened to me. I maybe I put the sound back a little bit too much, and maybe the tire and I don't know whatever happened, but I ripped the rubber off the cotton, and I lost my front wheel.
So what Omar's talking about is there's the basic part of the tire, the layering, and then there's the rubber part that's glued onto the surface that touches the road. So Specialized has fixed that in their brand new tires. So the vulcanization
is one.
It's a lot better now.
Gotcha. Maybe I'll try them again because I really like them. They roll amazing.
So their new one's tubeless, and it comes all the way up to a 32. And yeah.
Okay, I'll look into it. But man, I had a bad experience.
Yeah, that was bad. You're not the only person that had it.
When I said I'm like, when I look at the front wheel, I'm like, oh my God, the rubber like separated, and I was riding on the cotton, right? Nothing. So I have no grip. I have nothing. I went down. Took my friend Dave Lipinski out, and he broke his shoulder blade before his vacation because he ran right over me. Yeah,
we've all been on the ground.
Yeah. So we all say rubber side down.
Rubber side down.
Rubber side down means don't fall off the bike. That's exactly what it means. Okay, all right. So what about clips? Those are important too, right? Because
it's so you have 3 contact points on your bike: your handlebars, your seat, super important, but your feet on your pedals is super critical. It's where all the power goes through. So in the old days, it was toe clips where you went into a steel clip and the leather strap tightened you in. And every time you stopped, you had to reach down to loosen it up. And if you didn't, you fell over, which I did a number of times. But clipless pedals are super efficient, and the technology has gotten better and better. it is for someone brand new to it. It can be a little unnerving because it's not unlike a ski boot where you put your toe in and you clamp down your heel and you're locked in. Although actually coming out is very simple. You just turn to the side.
Yeah, that's it.
But just that turn to the side can be counterintuitive to a lot of people. I've had friends who I've watched get on and they just sort of panic. So one way to get used to it is just to, put them on, clip in, but ride on, say, a lawn or some grass where if you do fall over, you won't get hurt. But clipless is definitely the way to go because it's easier to apply pressure throughout the whole circle of your stroke. So, and the shoe technology is also kind of amazing just in terms of how it fastens down. So the whole system down there is pretty sophisticated now. And even, shoes you can go crazy on. But you can also buy a really efficient shoe for not that much money. And then there's a different amount of float in the pedal. So you can buy cleats that clip in. The cleats bolt onto your shoe, and the cleats clip into the pedal. And the cleat can have zero float, where your foot doesn't move, or it can have varying degrees of float if you want to just kind of be sure that you're not locked in and hurting your knees. But clip-ins are the way to go.
And so, what do you use Shimano or Look, or what do you?
I use Shimano just to keep the brand the same through all the components.
I'm all Look.
Yeah, so Look and Shimano are the most common, and then there's road pedals. There's also SPD for most of the off-road and gravel type events, and that's a different clip and a different shoe, but the same mechanism to get out.
Right. So, guys, the learning curve is steep. There's a lot of things you guys are gonna have to learn when you get into biking. Again, pedals important, shoes
super important.
So important. It comes with all different styles of lock and different laces and all kind of fancy stuff. And the list of biking shoe go on and on and on. But let's get a good biking shoes, because if not, you're gonna get one you don't like it, and then you just end up wasting your money. All right. So for us, like, we're serious into biking, right? We talk about pedals, but we also, what about the data-driven cyclists, or in like power meters and all those things? So you touch on those, because some of us are like that.
Yeah, so completely apart from the bike itself and the actual riding of the bike is sort of the world of data and tracking. So I would say that it's worth it to invest in a computer to mount on your bike. And at the fundamental level, what that does is it allows you the ability to sort of just track your riding and to have a map, which are two of the most used things on a computer. So you can, and if you connect that computer, the most common brands are Garmin and Wahoo. And when you buy those products, you get access to their website. So you can go see maps of where you rode, you can see your riding diary and a lot of other data if you're interested in it. So just the fundamental level, a bike computer is really sort of a must-have. You can ride without one, but it's a lot more fun to sort of track your progress and keep a diary. And beyond that, if you want to start to train in a structured way or keep track of your progress, there's the addition of power and heart rate, which are two different devices that will talk to your computer, and your computer will record what kind of power you're putting out and will record your heart rate. And there's a whole world of a different chapter of discussions about training with structure using power and heart rate.
Right. And then if you guys follow cycling, everybody know about Tadej Pogacar, right? You saw with the Strada, where last year he averaged 340 watts in the last X number before he finished. And then this year he did 380. So
the last part of Strada.
Right? So basically, in simple layman terms, if you're light enough, the more watt you can put out, the faster you can go. And I said it because there's some really big people out there who can put out a lot of watts, but because you're big, they don't go as fast as a light person. So if you're light and you put a lot of watts, you're going to be the best in the world. So be like Tadej Pogacar.
We're probably never going to see someone like him.
Probably not.
He's but, all pros forever, and there's him.
Right. I know they compare him to all sort of different. This guy is he's just built different. Oh, did you see that they're trying to ban the glucose monitor now and arms in UCI, trying to ban that stuff now?
I read briefly that they banned it because it would give them an unfair advantage to know that much about their fueling. I might have gotten that wrong.
I think that's what they were saying,
Yeah.
but over time, if somebody uses it, they will know what their numbers are and know maybe at 45 minutes or this is my window. So
Right.
is that an advantage? Because after using it over time, you will know
Right.
what where you're gonna bunk or something like that, right? So anyway, that's
that's one of the, so power was, we're still relatively young in the addition of power, maybe 20 years where it's gotten more sophisticated, and glucose is brand new. So that monitor, there's a new book about how to train with one. It's a whole area I haven't even thought about yet, because this is like, I'm still trying to figure out power.
we're gonna get there because we've come a long way.
Yeah.
As we've been evolving in cycling, learning things that we never thought about. I mean, you look at the technology from the first Tour de France, which was like 1908 maybe, until now, and all things have just progressed. I mean,
Yeah.
it is crazy.
Oh yeah, it is amazing, especially the last couple of decades.
Things are just evolving so fast. I mean, now you can hire a coach, or you can go tell ChatGPT to give me a training plan based on certain parameters, and then voila, there you are. Well, we're gonna loop back on that a little bit later on. All right. So now that we have our pedals and parmeter, whatever, this is something I think is very, very important. Okay, and it's gonna come down to your biking clothes, your clothing. This is very, very important. And for somebody who has made a mistake, I know sometimes we look on the internet and we can do this website and we can see inexpensive kits and bibs and different things. But guys, please invest in good quality kits and bibs, like your jersey and your shorts. Invest in good quality and pay a little bit extra, because if not, you're gonna end up buying these lower price, inexpensive / cheap stuff. And then 6 months later, you're like, this thing is falling apart. It's too hot. It don't feel comfortable. All these other things. So invest in some good bibs, please, and some jerseys. And if you do get these things, make sure that your bib shorts, you can see through it, because nobody wants to be behind you and see your butt crack when you're riding. I'm serious. I have ridden behind guys. I'm like, dude, your bib is too thin. I don't want to see that. Like, come on. Right? We have all experienced that.
I've been guilty of that. Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Not me, because I am very. Once I realized my baby's like that one that only stays indoors. I don't take them outdoors, but I've experienced it a couple times. The other thing for your bibs and your jerseys, guys, for safety reasons, for someone getting into cycling, get bright color jersey. I mean, clubs have their own jerseys, but get bright color jerseys. This is important for visibility, for your own safety and protection. I think green, like bright green, I think is the most visible jersey out there. They've done like all these color schemes. Black is probably the worst. Don't get black. So for me, I need to have bright color jerseys because I have this already. So I gotta protect myself. So bright color jerseys, safe, right? In addition to that, so help with your visibility, right? Bright color jersey, good quality stuff. Please invest in that. Don't leave thin jerseys. The other thing is, please, bike lights are important. Please put bike lights on the back of your bike, flashy red, bright, flashy light. On your front of your bike, white light. You can turn them on. They can go in throbbing so people can see you. We live in the city, wherever you are, if you're not even in Chicago, other places, but these are very, very important. Please, bike lights. Other thing is, I'll touch on is like helmet, because it's all part of what you put on your body, right? Helmet is paramount. And I can tell this, if you go to any group ride anywhere in the world or anywhere in Chicago and you don't wear a helmet, you're going to be scolded. And good chance he'll tell you, go get a helmet.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw someone ride without a helmet. Like maybe
3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
I went to a bike ride and some guy showed up. I'm like, who's going to tell him?
Yeah, you won't. Most groups would say, maybe you get away with it once, but not
twice. Yeah. So helmets are important, guys. And also you will hear this word. If it don't make sense to you now, you'll see this word again, and you can buy helmets and you'll see it in a yellow sticker, and it says MIPS, MIPS, which means multi-directional impact protection system. And what does that? It has like a second layer inside that basically, if you hit the ground, hopefully you never hit the ground, it helps with the rotation of your head so that it reduces the impact. And I think NFL helmets have this protection in it for hitting or whatever.
I think theirs is even more sophisticated now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But MIPS is a great thing to have. Because it's very common to hit your head on a bike, because crashes on a bike usually happen so fast that you can't do anything to stop it. So whatever happens is going to happen, and oftentimes it's your shoulder and or your head.
Yeah. So guys, and don't get these inexpensive knockoff helmet. They're not good quality. I had to learn because they look cool and they're in my budget. So I buy them, and within 6 months, I'm like, yeah, this is garbage.
Yeah.
And you change. So if you can invest in a good helmet, again, you can see what people are wearing. Ask your biking friends. They will tell you, invest in good helmet. This is, again, I can't tell you enough.
Maybe the single most important thing.
Yeah, your helmet. Protect yourself. All right. So as a coach, you mentioned about, power meter and tracking fitness. So let's get into some of the more technical things, right? Let's talk about nutrition and how that track your fitness kind of aspect of things for more advanced guys who want to like really take their training to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, well, nutrition's sort of a component, but you mean in terms of power tracking and structured training?
Yeah, right. And this biking in general, because you don't want to bunk, right? And all these different things for people. Because I made this mistake. Right. I bunked twice biking, and oh my God, that is... Oof.
Yeah, I mean, so in general, if you want to start getting more fit on your bike, you could just ride more without power and say, for example, if you were careful about, riding easy on Monday and do a couple hard days and do a rest day on Thursday and Friday, and then go hard on the weekends, and make sure that across the 7-day week you had 3 or 4 hard days, and then the rest were rest days. Actually, 3 or 4 would be a lot. And you just kind of had fun with friends and did that and rode as hard as you could sometimes, or did JRA, which is just ride around. You'd get more fit as long as you were sure to rest. But if you want to actually leverage the science behind training, which is really kind of amazing, and you get a power meter, and you can follow a structured plan that will make the most of every minute that you're on the bike. And there will be easy days where you can just ride and have fun and pedal softly. But there'll be a couple days a week where you're doing something very specific that is designed to help you be better in your goal. Maybe your goal is just to get more fit. Maybe your goal is to stay with the group and ride at the front of the group. Or maybe your goal is to be a national champion in criterium racing. But there is a specific type of training for each one of those kinds of goals that'll help you get there more efficiently, and will help you get there in a way that you're fresh and you're not just physically destroyed. So structured training is kind of amazing. You can do it on ChatGPT. You can do it on a platform like Trainer Road or FastCat, which are both kind of amazing. You can hire a coach so you don't have to worry about it, and they just write the plan for you and check in with you all the time, and you're accountable to them. That's the big benefit of having a coach, is being accountable to somebody. But the structured training and the planning is the way to really advance. So when I first got back into racing years ago, I just kind of like, I'm just going to ride a lot. And I'd go to races, I would just get slaughtered. And I'm like, who are these guys that are killing? They're all doing structured training, and they were all just smarter about it. And it's you can kind of touch on the science and have fun. You can go crazy on the science, whatever you're comfortable with. But the more you use it, the more efficiently your training will be, and the better you'll be able to tune your engine. And so I'm not a nutritionist, but nutrition is huge. So the more careful you are about eating good food and being careful about whole foods and balancing your protein and your carbs, the better you'll be. It has a huge impact. And there's been a revolution of on the bike eating in the last year or two, where you used to kind of eat maybe a little bit of a protein bar or some candy or whatever, but now the general rule is 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. On the higher end, the longer your ride is, all the way up to people on the gravel tour in America now who are doing Unbound for, 9 hours, they're doing 120 to 200 grams of carbs an hour, which is really hard to get in. So there's a combination of carbs in your bottles, carbs in gels. So there's been a real revolution in terms of increased intake of carbohydrates on the bike, and it's highly recommended. And I totally agree with it. I started doing it, and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling terrible after the end of the ride. I feel okay.
Yeah.
It's been revolutionary. So on this higher carb diet, the pros are going faster than they did in the drug era, which is sort of remarkable. So, all of the little stuff when you're trying to improve your performance on the bike, sleep, nutrition matters a lot, and it becomes sort of a lifestyle, and one that is great because you feel better. The only way to get faster on your bike is to take care of yourself, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So I think about, like nutrition, because couple weeks ago, after dinner, I finished with my family because it was late and I just didn't have time. So I ate dinner, waited for about an hour, so I went on the bike and I rode. I've never felt so good. I called Patrick and I was like, Patrick, I just did a workout and I felt so good. And he's like, did you eat before the ride? I'm like, oh yeah, I did. I didn't thought about how important nutrition, because sometimes when I get home and I go on a bike ride or whatever, this is actually after work or before dinner. So I don't eat until afterwards. But man, just getting that food in me before, I felt so much better doing that workout. And of course, you're going to take electrolyte because you don't want to get Charlie horse. In the beginning, I was biking. I would eat the electrolyte, enough goose. In the nighttime, I'm on the bed. Oh my God. And I'm cramping in my legs. And my wife was like, what's happening? I'm getting a cramp, So these are little things that you don't think about, but you have to replenish your stores.
Yeah.
So now my rule for biking is whenever I start biking and I finish biking, I need to I have like a little window.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finish, I need to be within some of that window. I don't want to be here. I want to be right there. And for the entire bike ride, I try to stay within that carb load, energy level, everything.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it helped me with recovery. So amazing. Afterwards, I just started doing creatine for the first time. And then these this BMA amino acid little things I'm taking. I'm like, I feel like so good because I'm getting older now. So, I'm losing my Wolverine powers now. So I got to start doing more. And then it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, it really does. Like if you were eating kind of whatever you wanted and some of it wasn't bad food and you went over to, fruit and vegetables and clean protein for, X amount of time, you would feel the difference pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's a huge impact.
Right. So again, these are for all guys who are really into it. And the people who are coming into biking, these are things if you hear here, it will make sense once you start doing it, right? Combining your nutrition with your power output, heart rate. I remember when I was in Miami and when I was running, and all of a sudden, all of our workouts were based on heart rate.
Yeah.
Never thought about it before. Because I just put my watch on and I go for a run. And then I will train, just look at the time. Okay, I want to hit the speed, and that's it. I go home, it's time to go home. And then the coach is like, hey, okay, you want to hit the speed, but we want to be within this heart rate zone and not below, not above. Because when you go for race time, if you train about it like this, go for a race time, you can hit higher heart rate and you can be way more efficient. And I never thought about things like this. For the bike, same thing. And for the first time in 5 years of biking, I'm actually training. This is my first time doing a training plan.
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried how fast you are without the training now.
Well, but let's see, because it's when it's time to bike, I'm going to be outside with everybody because I'm not training when things open up. I don't train. I just bike. I do whatever I want. So now I'm hurting myself, so nobody can hurt me when I get outside. That's the plan. So let's see how it pans out and plays out. So for new people, touch on how you, after a ride, where do you record and store your rides so you can actually go back and look at some of the data? What do you use?
Right. So I use a software platform called Training Peaks, which is the most common across, I'd say, serious amateurs and professionals across the world. There's a couple other platforms, but Training Peaks is the most common platform. A lot of people just record on Strava, which is a more social kind of a place. But you can still track your data. And Strava has done a lot in the last couple of years to add elements to the platform that allow you to track your fitness, which is pretty cool. So I'd say if you're not super serious about competition and super structured training, Strava is going to give you more than enough to kind of monitor if you're getting better or not, or what, if there's something you need to focus on. So I'd say those are the two most common. TrainerRoad is a platform that will, when you say, okay, here's my goal is to get faster this summer. Here's how much time I have. Here's how old I am. Here's a few parameters that I've observed. And it will build the plan for you, and you can just follow that, and you can do those rides indoor or outdoor. So I would say TrainerRoad, Training Peaks, and Strava are by far the most common. So I record on Strava just for fun, for social, but the detailed analysis and performance of both for me and my clients are all on Training Peaks.
Gotcha. And we mentioned about Strava and the social aspect of Strava. Strava's come a long way because now there's an AI thing that component now that I finish and I read them, and it makes me feel so good about myself. It's like my little chair, like, oh, today you hit this number and this, da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So I read that stuff now, and then the other cool thing about Strava, which is one of my favorite stuff, okay? And this is for all the goons out there who love stuff like this. And it's either getting top 10 or getting a calm. Some of us, King of the Mountain, by the way, that it's called. So when you get into Strava, you'll see, there's a particular segment. It's going to be a mile, 10 miles. It could be 300 meters, whatever. So what Strava does is it records all the people who have ridden on this stretch, and the person who has gone the fastest, you're number one. If you're number one, you are called King of the Mountain. If you're male, and if you're female, it's called QM, Queen of the Mountain, right? So some people take that stuff very, very seriously. And it's actually fun. I mean, I like to chase those things because it really pushes you, like, wait a minute, I just hit top 5. Guess who's on that list? Dean is on that list. Saban is on that list. Andrew Sparks is on that list. They're like, wait a minute, my time is faster than their time. So
yes, it is.
These little things like tickle our egos, because we're men, that's what we do, tickle our ego. So, wait a minute, that went faster than Mike Lanyon on this stretch, or I beat Sig. I mean, like, whoa, these are like, I'm calling some big names in Chicago, right? So you get these little comms. It really makes you feel good about yourself. I mean, it really means nothing, but
it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Right. And just find what makes you happy. And I think that aspect of Strava, that's why I pay for Strava. Some people don't pay for Strava. That's why I pay for it, because I want to see the top 10 every year and who won the fastest and all these cool things you can use it for. So if you're new to cycling, Strava is important. And Dean touched on before, once you finish your ride, you can, whether it's a Garmin or Wahoo, whatever you use, you can basically sync your bike computer into, and it goes right directly to Strava. You can set up those interfaces and you'll see how you performed and everything. And I think you mentioned before that, you can help you to track, like, find different routes. So for example, if you go to a new city and you want to find routes, you go to Strava and you can see all the routes, and you can just save it and follow like a GPS in your car and just follow the route.
Yep.
That's a cool aspect of Strava also.
Yeah.
You can get to meet friends. You can find people and say, oh, you ride this a lot. Hey, let's meet up and go for a bike ride. This is all these cool. Cycling is awesome. I'm serious.
And there is a free version of Strava.
Yes, there's a free version
So at the most basic level, a computer connected to Strava, so your computer uploads the data to Strava after the ride, at least as a diary. It's really fun to keep track of your progress, just in terms of miles or hours. And that's for free. The computers are kind of expensive, but they're a worthy investment.
Yeah. And I'm again, I think I said I'm building a new bike for my wife. So she's like, you get me a new bike because she has like a Garmin 510. She's my old Garmin 5, because now I'm up to like a 1030. I'm a 510 and 530. I think the 530 Garmin is like one of the best out there. It's old school, but the battery life is amazing, and it's like, but the 1030 is just like big screen and all. I'm getting old now, so I need my big screen and stuff. But there's many options out there, guys. I think there's one called iGPS or some Sport or whatever. There's a bunch of brands. Yeah. Most common, Garmin, Wahoo.
Yep. Can't miss.
You can't miss those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that we want to touch on too is so we went through, bike, pedals, tires, wheels, clips, jerseys, yada yada, all these different things. But I think something that's very important, which when I came here and when I came here to check out, initially I was a runner. I was running Emerson Run Club. I searched internet, then I found Emerson Bike Club, then I found Cartada, then I started finding all different things. So I think something that's important too when you get into biking is, as I think we discussed, find your tribe, meaning that find the group that works for you, that's within what you're looking for. When you're looking to bike in a group or by yourself, and again, group riding can be a little bit intimidating because there's a lot of dynamics that goes on. But from here, you're pulling to change, getting off the front, staying in the middle, at the back. There's a lot of things that goes on in that. You want to touch on it a little bit before just touch on that, like group riding. I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah. So group riding, especially if you've been riding by yourself mostly, there's sort of a general etiquette to all based on safety and efficiency. And there's a million videos. I'd say GCN is probably the best place to go look for videos on group riding and the etiquette. But if we just use Chicago as an example, there's a zillion different clubs, a zillion different flavors of social and riding, and almost all of them will help you understand, what it's like to ride in a group, because it does take a little while to get used to.
Yeah.
And it can be unnerving, but with a little bit of practice and help, you can get comfortable. In fact, so Triple X, my former club, has a running Saturday ride, and the whole goal of the Saturday ride at Triple X is to get newcomers comfortable in a group. So the first part of the ride up to Highland Park is a no drop ride. So no matter what, if someone comes off the back, you slow down and so let them catch up, no matter how slow you go, because the idea is that everyone arrives together in that 1 hour stretch.
Triple X.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's sort of the linchpin of that whole club, is that inclusive ride to help someone feel welcome and to help them learn how to ride in a group. And there's a lot of dynamics and sophistication about drafting and rotating pace lines, and all that takes a lot of practice and knowledge. But yeah, but before you even get to that, like you say, find a group that you're comfortable with, people you like. And that can be really scary for a lot of people. It's probably maybe the biggest hurdle to getting really into cycling, is knowing and feeling comfortable about going with a group you like, but it's out there. And I would say that Chicago's a place where you probably have like 4 groups you would like. There's so many.
I like
many groups.
I think I like all the groups so far. I've never gone to a group like all the groups. And I ride it all the groups in Chicago. I ride it. I'm in them. I pay my dues, and I'm in all the groups because I just want to have fun.
That's awesome.
And really important, as you said about group dynamics, because you will go in a group and you're used to one group and how they do pace line and stuff like that, and then you realize that this group do pace line different.
Yep.
Or they rotate off the front is different, and you have to learn these different things. So what I do every time I go to a group ride for the first time, I stay on the back.
Oh yeah.
And I just watch what's going on in the group for the first maybe 5-10 miles or so, and just look to see who is doing what. Every time I come in and I just sit and I just watch and see what's going on. Plus, I'm kind of like cheeky like this. When I go on the back of the group, I get to see who's the alpha in the group because the alpha is always my target because I'm kind of weird like that. Like I overanalyze things, but again, you just want to see how people interact with each other and just see, and sometimes you go to people's ride, you don't want to like crash people's ride, like meaning go in and start changing up what they do. No, so you respectfully, I stay at the back and I watch the group, see what they're doing, and then I say, okay, fine, okay, now I will help.
Yeah.
Once I get used to stuff.
I mean, the general rule is, if you're brand new, is introduce yourself and say hi. So, have a little bit of interaction with people, and then riding towards the back is by far the best call if you're brand new to a group, just to kind of get the vibe. Even if you're strong enough to be in the front, just kind of watch and learn to see what the vibe is. And you'll be fine eventually.
Yeah, because some groups, if you're new, they don't want you to be in the front. I've experienced it. Like, who are you?
Right.
Even though you're strong.
Yeah.
Stay at the back.
And the personality of every club and every group is different, and you'll find something that you like.
Yeah. And again, if you want to find a ride in Chicago, I always recommend people to please go to chicagogroupride.com and you'll see all the rides in Chicago all the days. You might find something that's close to you, and you'll find your tribe. Other thing I really want to touch on is that for Chicago specifically, depends on where you live in Chicago. I think it's very important for you to know, like, if you live in the north, middle, or south, know the routes that you can go on if you don't get into biking. So you can go on the lakefront, you can head down west, in the area. And if you're somebody living in the north, I mean, going up Sheridan to Fort Sheridan to Lake Bluff, and everybody loves St. Mary, of course, going on Everett. Then you can go towards Wisconsin. Fantastic roads to bike on. So I think when you get into riding, I think you should scope out like where you could ride on, where it depends on where you are. And again, you can find with the groups that you're in, right? That's one thing. And I also think it is very important to know where your bike shops are. This is something I never thought about, right? Know where your bike shops are, because knowing where your bike shops is going to help you when you got just some things you just can't do for yourself, and you can get into biking. Go find your bike shop, and again, support local. That's what it's all about, right? I mean, would you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I think a relationship with a bike shop is super important. Unless you're a really skilled mechanic, which is a thing that takes a long time to learn. A bike shop is just great. They're going to get to know you. They're going to get to know your machine. And it's just a really important part of the bike community in general. Knowing, you have a mechanic that you trust to work on your bike. I have one guy in Chicago. I will not let anyone else touch my bike.
Fair enough.
And he is really special. And I arrive to my rides and races totally confident that the bike's going to be good. But just in terms of community, it's great. I mean, there's so many options to buy direct online, bikes, components, everything. But when you need help, go to your local shop and establish a relationship with one or a couple. And it's just a great peace of mind to know that you have people you can rely on to help you when you're running, because you will run into a million things you don't know how to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've learned so much over the years about biking. Again, just being in different groups I'm in. I think I can build almost any bike now because I've become very skilled. The only thing I still have not learned to do is how to work with brake with fluid, like for the hydraulic cables. Because I don't want to work with those chemicals in my apartment, my house. So I take it to the bike shop. I will put everything together. But when you come to the brake,
bleeding the brakes,
I bike shop.
It's a special talent.
Everything else I can do, but that one, take it to the shop.
Yeah,
you guys take care of that. And one thing I think remind me about this, right?
Oh yeah.
If you get into biking, this is very, very important, guys.
A pump.
Please, in your house, in your apartment, in your tree, wherever you live, please have a pump. This is very, very important. Have a pump.
Floor pump.
Floor pump. It will make sense later on, but get a good floor pump to pump your bike up, because you can't use your CO2 or your pump every day to do this. So most times, every week, maybe I probably pump up my tires maybe once or twice a week, depending on what's going on. And if you use, we mentioned latex before, that's
every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So please have a pump. Very, very, very important. So is there anything that we forgot to talk about when it comes to biking? Do you think of anything?
I'm sure there's a bunch of things but we covered a lot. And hopefully that's helpful to someone who's brand new. Just remember, it all seems confusing, but it actually is fun to learn all of the parts of it. And the equipment's fun, and the people are fun, the tribes are fun. Being in shape is great, and it's a great sport.
Yeah, and if you're gonna get into biking, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, right? And I mean, I do it for mental health and all the other aspect of stuff, and I just like to push myself every now and then and see what's going on. So that's why I do it, and I mean, I have a lot of fun. I don't race. I just do what I do for fun. You guys see me out there being crazy, but I just do it because it's a lot of fun. And one thing that you guys are gonna hear, and it might not make any sense, but I hope once you guys hear this word, you go and you Google the word, and it'll all make sense. And it's called the Velominati Rules of Cycling, where this guy made this fake list. The list is just made up. It's just random stuff. But when you read it, it'll all make sense, and it's kind of funny. And one of them is don't be a twat waffle. So when you're in cycling and stuff, means don't be a crazy.
I thought it was don't be a dick.
Well, that I just didn't want to use the word dick,
Okay, sorry.
but it says twat waffle. Be nice. Be nice. Don't be a twat waffle. That's literally in the rule. And
That's number one rule.
yeah, that's somewhere in the list. But I think number one rule is like follow the rules, something like that. And then you'll see people have jerseys that says like it don't get hard, you spell faster, or toughen the F up and all these different things. It's all a part of the rules. And this is one of the rules which is also very, very important that they have on the list. I think that your handlebar tape should always match the color of your seat. That's one rule. So don't have like a bright pink handlebar tape where your seat is black, your saddle is black. So you can do it, but I'm just saying that's one of the rules. There's a bunch of really funny rules on the list, but it's called the Illuminati rules. Google it and read it, and you're gonna be laughing your A off. It's pretty cool. It's little
I think the original intention is they were kind of a joke, and everyone started taking them
very seriously because it's a joke, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, the way the author, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but when he is asked about creating them, he said, "This is what everyone just talked about. We just wrote them down."
Exactly.
And we meant it as kind of being funny, and so, but everyone got real serious about the rules. That wave has passed. They're kind of forgotten now.
But right. But I still look at them every now and then because I think there's some really good ones that just give me some maybe just giggle a lot. They're just so funny because these are things that you don't think about, but you think about, you're like, that's actually really funny because you see yourself in some of these rules, right? And then someone motivate me, like when I'm like, oh, they're like dying on the bike, and I'm like, toughen the F up, or something like that. You're like rule number 5, like stuff like it's like, oh yeah.
My favorite one, I can't remember which one it is, but it says like, if your helmet doesn't look cool and work with your glasses, buy a new helmet. Like, it was just hilarious. Just buy a new helmet.
Just buy a new helmet. and then I was when we do joke about stuff. It's like, if your bike is making a funny sound or whatever, just buy a new bike. And for when you get into biking too, you're gonna probably own one bike, but as you get better and start biking more and more, you're gonna end up with many bikes. It is addictive, and that's why the rule N+1 number of bikes, right? So again, you guys will see, but I hope we provide enough information. Again, we might have missed some stuff, but it's some of the major things that somebody's either getting into biking or the bike. Again, we've said stuff I think can help people no matter which aspect you're looking from. Again, very important. This is I think should be the number one rule on the list. Know where your coffee shops are when it comes to cycling.
That's what it's all about.
It's all about going for coffee in the middle, at the end, or something. But coffee is very important. What's your favorite stop for coffee? Do you have any favorite stop?
I really like Tala. Yeah.
Tala, Pete's, Hometown, that's the name. But everyone loves Tala.
I'll drink any kind of coffee. I'll go to Dunkin'. I don't care. But in fact, I go there every day. But but for rides, yeah.
Tala is great.
Tala's great.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, any plans for this year for you? Because I know you're probably preparing for racing. Are you training now? Is that coming along?
Yeah, it's coming along great. So my goals are Masters Road Nationals in June, and I'll race as much as I can up to that point, like a couple times a month at least. And then Chicago Grit in July, and I'll try to go to St. Louis for Gateway Cup.
You think Gateway?
Labor Day. I missed it last year, and I was sad. So I try to balance, life with. I used to race like 50 starts a year, but I had to dial that way back to like 20 or 30. So 20 starts, but I'm excited.
I'm looking forward. I mean, I know you have your battle with COVID and all different things, and I've been stalking. No, it's not. It's on Strava. It's a stalking. But I've seen your progress and stuff, and I remember that one time when you came to Cortada and you're at the front of him, like they're like, look, who's this guy? I'm like, man, that's D, man. You guys don't know D. Like he's the man. It was awesome. So yeah, so
that's a great ride, by the way.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
those guys are really cool, and it's early morning, so you
great
can ride.
Vibe.
Great vibe.
Great vibe.
Bike early, come home, and we're all family now, basically. Like being all those guys, we're like this.
Yeah, that's great.
And you can't beat the time. You know, when we hang out all the time, we go to Pete's for coffee, almost all Pete's hometown Tala. And then Friday for Cortal is probably the best time to ride because then Friday is the easy day.
My favorite day.
If you're going more than 20 miles an hour, you're going too fast.
Way too fast.
And the rule is that if you can hear the person when you're talking, you're going way too fast.
Yep.
And this is a chill ride. We stop and we can be at a coffee shop for an hour, hour and a half. Then we go to work afterwards. And then Cortado, then good peoples, good vibes.
It's awesome.
Yeah. As we come to a close, anything you want to finish out with?
Yeah, just dive in. Don't worry about not knowing stuff and just have fun and ride and enjoy it. Yeah.
What better way to end? And if you have questions, you stop any random person on the street and ask them a question about a bike, and I'm telling you, they will talk your ear off because they want to share stuff to you.
Like we just did.
Yeah, they probably share sometimes too much, but it's because we're excited about biking. We're excited about what we've learned, and sometimes we try to mansplain things sometimes, but it is we're excited about biking. You know, it's from where we're coming from to where we are. We just want to share. So take it easy on us cyclists. And for people who are driving out there watching this, please look out for cyclists. We're going from cold to back to outdoor season again. So look out for cyclists. We're going to be nice to you guys. You guys be nice to us. A bicycle will never beat a car. So again, please look out for cyclists. All right. Please look out for us. We're there and we're here to have fun and be nice to everybody. So guys, we heard a lot tonight from Dean. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you
sharing.
so much.
It was awesome to come and learn about bikes, learn about Dean a little bit more and what we're doing. And Dean's, I think, one of the reasons why Chicago is an amazing place. You will see him now in the 606 numbers now, and it's really awesome to see from XXX to now to 606 and great things to come this year. I'm looking forward to what's going to be
excited
this year.
Thanks.
We're all excited. So guys, keep the miles